So basically, all I wanted to do was just sit here and talk about the new Phantasy Star tabletop RPG that came out. This thing looks phenomenal. I've always kind of been a fan of like Phantasy Star. I started when Phantasy Star Online came out. That game was awesome. Like I remember spending a lot of hours on that. I made a couple different characters, but I like the hunters the best, probably. Like the badass robot guys and all that. I thought that was really cool. I like Phantasy Star a lot, but I've never really played any of the games except for Phantasy Star Online. I know that there's a lot of lore in this RPG that's about like the first, I think it's 4 games. But yeah, Phantasy Star is by Skydawn Games, it looks like. And I kind of just want to flip through the book and talk about it. This is my first video. I'm not a professional or anything. I just wanted to give my thoughts about it. I've been playing RPGs for a long time. It's probably my main hobby. And I just thought I'd talk about this a little bit because I thought it was really cool. No, I don't have a fancy setup or anything like that. I do wish I could show you guys like some of the art that's in the book because the art is really good. It's all stuff that's none of it's AI. It's all real artists and stuff like that. And a lot of it depicts stuff from like the games. Some of it might actually even be art from the games. I'm not really sure. It's really cool though. But I've kind of flipped through the book a time or two before. And from what I can tell, this is a complete RPG system. Meaning it's got like all of its classes, it's got its races, it's got techniques, which in this is like your magic equivalent. And then it's got like equipment and vehicles and stuff like that too. So I'm just going to kind of flip through it a little bit and talk about it as we go. Oh, this is all based off of, I think it's called Espergenesis system. It's like really similar to D&D 5th edition. I've noticed there's a couple of changes with it. I don't own the Espergenesis system, so I don't really know a ton about it. But it looks like they've just done away with like stat numbers and gone with modifiers instead. So one of the things I loved about this, I was looking at the player options. That's usually where I start when I go through a new game anyways, is player options and see what they've got. They've got all their equivalent Phantasy Star classes in here. Let me scroll down to where they all start. The beginning of the book is just like basic RPG stuff. What is an RPG? What are the different die rolls? What are the dice that are used? How do you take an action? Things like that. Really basic stuff. What are hit points? That kind of thing. Status conditions. We want to get to the juicy stuff. Creating characters. They give you character origins first, which I guess are the races or species. So you get androids, which are like the casts from the video games. Some of the things androids can do. They have armored frame, gives them a bit more defense. They have a constructed body. They don't need to eat, drink, breathe. Don't need to sleep while resting. You're immune to poisons and disease. They can stabilize easier at 0 HP. And it looks like they have a special version too that makes it so they don't have techniques, but they can use caster kits, which I'm not sure what a caster kit is. I'm guessing it's like a magic item or something like that. That gives you limited access to magic, would be my guess. They can finish a long rest in 4 hours. That's pretty decent. And it looks like they get a self-repair action. So not like mind-breakingly powerful or anything, but they are flavorful, and they don't have to deal with a lot of things that flesh bags have to deal with. So that's cool. Humans. In a lot of RPGs, it seems like humans are like really OP. Like in D&D, I think they get a heroic inspiration every day or something like that, or free fee, all kinds of stuff. They're usually just really good. Here, it looks like proficiency with a tool, vehicle of your choice, gain 2 fate points. I think fate points in this are your inspiration. Versatile, gain 2 skill ranks and a skill of your choice. And then you have environmental variants for human. So Arctic, extreme heat. Okay, basically all the different environmental types. And then we have Newman, and there's a really awesome piece of artwork of May, I think her name is. The hot elf girl with claws from, I think, Phantasy Star 2. Yeah, sorry, I don't know all the lore. I might try out the games sometime, though. They do look really cool, and I like retro games. Looks like Newman. They come with some spells, or techniques, rather. I don't know what any of them do right now because I haven't read all the spell section yet, and they use weird names, Phantasy Star names for their spells, so it's kind of hard to tell what they do, like Grevka, Jalin, Rimit. I have no idea what those mean. You know, D&D, it's usually like lightning bolt, fireball, sleep, all that kind of stuff, right? So Phantasy Star has different naming conventions. They have a race called Dezolian, which kind of looks like... kind of reminds me of a cross between like a Dragon Ball Z Namek and an orc. They're like very tall, sophisticated looking, 6 to 8 feet tall. I know their iconic one is supposed to be like a priest. Maybe if I keep making these videos, maybe I'll get something so I can show the books as I'm kind of going through them. Innate casters, keen senses, special vision. Motavian, look like some sort of bird thing. Humanoid bird thing. I'm not going to go through all these. I'll just kind of give you an idea. Musk cat. So you can be a furry if you want, I guess. I do know that the musk cat, there's one named Meow in the games, and it's like an intelligent cat that can talk and use magic and stuff, so that's kind of neat. Backgrounds, pretty standard D&D fair type stuff. You got Aqualite, Celebrity. And this is more like 2014 version. You get, some skills and some equipment, that kind of stuff. So that's fairly basic. Yeah. And then professions, that's what they're calling the different classes. And looks like the first one we got is Guardian. I did read through some of these, and my initial thoughts is they're kind of like D&D equivalents, but they are quite a bit more powerful, I think. They can do more things from what it seems like. So it looks like the Phantasy Star game is aiming for like a lot more heroic characters that are capable of a lot more, which is cool. I like that. Especially when I'm GMing, I like my players to have really strong heroes so I can really beat them up. That's fun for me. But just to kind of give an example, the Guardian, it says here in the first line, heroic defender and champion of justice. So your paladin equivalent, except they have beam swords and sweet-looking jumpsuits instead of shining armor. Weapon mastery, so that is somewhat similar to D&D 5e's weapon masteries from what I've read. And then they just have like the basic weapon types like sword and axe and all that stuff, except yours is going to be like a laser sword or whatever. So Fury Strike is one of their abilities they get at level 2. This is just to kind of give you an example of the cool stuff they can do. You move with blinding speed and channel your energy into a powerful attack. As an action, you teleport to an unoccupied space next to a target you can see within 30 feet. So you literally do the teleports behind you, nothing personnel, kid. And that's your character. Kind of cheesy, but kind of cool too. Looks like most things are refreshed on a long rest. You get access to techniques. And then you get to select a path at 3rd level, it looks like, for your characters. And I think there's 2 paths for each job, or whatever I called it before. I can't remember. So it looks like Guardian gets Slayer. Looks like they are meant to be like damage dealers or something like that. Yeah, you get Slayer's Mark, so it kind of reminds me of the Vengeance Paladin a little bit. And then the other one is Champion Spirit of Valor. When attacking with your weapon mastery, you can channel spirit energy into it as part of the attack. For 10 minutes, you add your charisma modifier to all attack rolls made with that weapon. You can use this feature twice. You gain 1 use when you finish a short rest, or gain the rest when you finish a long rest. Okay, that's pretty cool. But yeah, those are just like the low-level abilities, and they just get better from there. So as you can see, it's pretty good. The Hunter, it makes you think it's a ranged combatant, but it's not just a ranged combatant. They can use swords and stuff too. They're just as good at melee as they are with weapons, long-range weapons. But yeah, it looks like they start with Hunter's Mark, training, Hunter's Path, extra attack. And I did read through the Hunter a ways, because the Hunter was like my favorite in Phantasy Star Online. And one of their paths, they can attack a lot. Like, they are kind of like a blur with their weapons. I think one of their special abilities is, as a bonus action, you can attack 3 different enemies within 5 feet of you or something like that. It's just really cool. They get some other techniques too. Extra attack, Wayfarer, just increases your speed, gives you a climb speed and a swim speed. Oh, that's pretty cool. They get a bunch of techniques too. So it looks like everybody gets to use magic in this game, which I like. I think there's one class that doesn't get magic, or techniques rather, and that's the warrior. And their shtick is like they can use all the weapons, they get all the weapon masteries, and they get something else too. I can't remember what else they get. Okay, the paths for the Hunter are Ranger and Vanguard. Rangers specialize in recon and surprise tactics. Vanguard, frontline combatants, tactical leaders, specialize in face-to-face confrontation. Okay. So it looks like you got a little bit more of a ranged choice, more ambushy type character, and then a more like hard charging type subclass. Mystic. From what I understand, the Mystic is kind of like a martial monk. Other martials anyways in D&D, but what I mean is they use weapons, as well as I think they also get like unarmed attacks and stuff like that. I could be wrong on the unarmed attacks. Maybe they just get more attacks with their weapons, but they can use like a lot of different techniques. They have a lot of MP, or TP is what they call it in this, technique points. So instead of spell slots like in D&D, they have technique points. And it's just like, think of like a video game where you have like mana or something like that. That's how you cast your techniques, is it just takes from the max TP pool. So that's kind of cool. It gives you more flexibility on what you want to use. I like that a lot. And then they got the Art of Rika, I guess, another hot elf lady, which I really appreciate the art. Even if it's not a hot elf lady, it's still fun. The artwork is phenomenal. That was one of the big things that drew me to the book right off the jump. Self-restoration, hard to hold, saving throws on grapples to escape, or made to escape grapples. So yeah, it looks like they're good at moving around the battlefield, controlling opponents, pushing them around, doing that kind of thing. Probably just a good skirmisher. Put out a lot of damage, fade out. The operative, from what I read about that before, the operative is your rogue class. They're your skill monkeys. They're your rogue class. They get sneak attack. They get that's one thing about this game is in D&D 5e, they did their best to give you some sort of exciting thing every level. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's kind of boring. You just get an extra spell, and it's not even of a new level or anything like that. In this, I can solidly say they give you something cool and fun to play with every single level, so that's exciting. And the operative has something new every single level. You're getting something new. So level 1, expertise, sneak attack, weapon mastery. Level 2, cunning action. 3, operative path and steady aim. 4, okay, there's an ability improvement at 4. So maybe not every level, but the rest of the levels are still just packed with awesome stuff. Cunning strike, uncanny dodge. Next is expertise, improved mastery, evasion, reliable talent. Then you get your operative path features, and it just keeps going and going and going. Personally, if I was playing in this game, I would be stoked to get something cool every level. Because I do like martials a lot, but they don't always have something exciting to look forward to. I think this game has really kind of closed that gap. So everybody's getting something cool every level. So really good job to Skydawn Games on that. So they get their subclasses are Thief and Savant. Oh no, it's Thief and Investigator. Okay, Savant's a different class. My bad. And yeah, it looks like the Interrogator is focused more on information gathering and social things, and the Thief is what it says on the tin. Savant. I didn't read a whole lot about this. From what I understand, they're kind of like scientists, scholars, that sort of thing. They get charged attacks. Looks like they have a lot of technique points. They get max tech ranks, which I'm not exactly sure what that means. But they look like one of your more involved classes that you probably have to rip down and really look into to see what they do. Their subclasses are Doctor, so probably your healing class. That's what it looks like. They get a lot of healing things. And Machinist. Sabotage. Sounds like they're good against machines. Tinker training. Engineered resistance. So I know in Phantasy Star, one of the major enemy types is robots. So I would gamble that the Machinist is really valuable when you're fighting a lot of robots. And there's a lot of robots. Probably like, I don't know if it's 50% of the bad guys. But it's a lot. Thaumaturge is the next class. And I think they're like a true mage. I think most of the magic users in Phantasy Star are like technique based. I think the Thaumaturge gets like true magic is kind of how it was explained to me. But yeah, they're all in as a caster. They get TP recovery. And you get to choose your Thaumaturge path. You get access to all the magic, or all the techniques. They get, they are definitely the caster class because there's like pages of magic and techniques that they have here. The two different paths are Esper, and that's the one with the true magic, Esper magic. And then it tells you their spells they get, which are all Phantasy Star language, so I don't even know what they do. Flaily, Recover are your first two. Recover's probably a healing thing. Spell Splicing is literally one of their abilities. You can cast a technique. You immediately take a special action to apply one of the following effects. You double technique's range. If the technique forces the target to make a saving throw, roll d4, add the result to your tech save DC. Okay, so they're kind of like sorcerers. But yeah, increasing your DC on the fly sounds really strong. That's really good. The other one is Force. And it looks like they have ways to empower techniques as well. So pretty cool. Warrior. This is the one I was a little bit curious about because they don't get technique points. It looks like they are just the Phantasy Star fighter class. But yeah, they are loaded up with features. And they get artisan tools and vehicle of your choice for tool proficiencies. And the vehicles in this are cool. There's like starships, and there's like this APC thing, and yeah, they have really cool vehicles in this. There's only like 4 vehicles that I saw, but this is also like the first book that Skydawn Games has put out. So I'm hoping that they do just like a gear porn book, right? And it's all like weapons, guns, vehicles, because there's so much cool stuff in Phantasy Star. I remember just collecting all the cool weapons in Phantasy Star Online, like different swords, and like there was this bazooka thing, and dual wielding SMGs was a thing. That was super cool. But yeah, it looks like Warriors, they get all the things that make them punch and kick better, which is really cool if you're into martials. I am. I love martial characters. And it looks like these guys are really good at it. They get up to 4 attacks, it looks like, at max. There's 2 paths. One is called the Commando, and they get combat stunts, it looks like. So kind of like your Battle Master fighter. Yeah, that's what I'm getting off of it. Battle Master fighter. Except they got some extra stuff in there, and some of their attacks are a little bit more powerful. Like I was saying, these characters are a little more powerful and like robust than D&D. And then you have your Paragon. It looks like that's your champion, more or less. But yeah, those are all your classes. Gear. So here's an interesting thing about this. It reminds me a little bit of like Starfinder. They have your gear in grades. So at level 1, you'll have common. At level 3, uncommon. 7 is rare. 11, very rare. Level 16 plus is epic. And then the weapons are just kind of... as much as I love Phantasy Star and I love this book, I think it's a really good book. I was kind of disappointed with weapons and armor section here. Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different melee weapons, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4 ranged weapons. And I was like, where's the fucking laser swords, man? Where's the giant claymore laser swords and all this stuff? They kind of got it, but it's just not the variety that the Phantasy Star game had. But then again, maybe I'm thinking of like special weapons, because I guess all the ones I'm thinking of were named weapons, except for like the dual SMGs and the shotgun. What else was there that was just a basic weapon? That was really cool. I guess those are the only 2 that they're really missing, because they have axe. Don't think they had axe in Phantasy Star. They did have fist weapons and boot weapons. They also had like a katana, which could just fall under sword. That's fine. They had bow, which they have listed here. Are they missing anything else? I feel like there was a rocket launcher type deal that wasn't a special weapon. So yeah, I really want a gear book for this game. It would be really awesome. They could do so much with that. And I know the deal is like your weapons get different grades. So yeah, you're still finding new cool stuff, but it doesn't feel quite the same to me. Maybe if I played the game and got to see it in action, I'd be able to tell better. But yeah, it is what it is. They do have some neat masteries for the different weapons, like axes. Additional properties. While wielding this weapon, you gain a bonus to your defense against ranged attacks. I guess that's like showing that the axe has like a really wide blade on it. You can just like hold it up and like use it as a shield kind of. But here it shows the different levels. You get Iron Axe, Titanium Axe, Great Axe, Laser Axe, Laconian Axe. But I don't really see what a grade does for you. I'm sure it's here in the book somewhere. Oh, okay. Grades give you a damage bonus. Oh, that's actually really good. Each grade gives you, for example, a grade 2 sword has a +2 damage to its bonus rolls. Okay. So grade 4 has a 4 damage bonus? That's really good. I mean, it's just numbers. It doesn't do anything extra and cool. So I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity, but not a huge gripe. Oh, they have the dual daggers. Okay, that's cool. What do they do? While wielding this weapon, you get a bonus to agility. Agility is your initiative stat in this game, basically. You don't roll initiative the normal way. You use the special stat. If you're wielding more than one dagger, you must choose which one provides the bonus. Bonus to agility equal to the weapon's... Oh, okay. So yeah, you could really move fast if you're using daggers. And then it has artwork of some of the weapons here, which is just really good. Greatsword special ability. When a creature hits you with an attack, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage dealt by an amount equal to this weapon's grade. Okay. So you get damage reduction just for wielding a greatsword. That's awesome. Pistols. Additional property. When wielding a pistol in one hand and no other weapons, you gain +2 bonus to attack power with it. Okay. At grade 2, you can target one additional creature with the burst mastery. Okay, so it sounds like the pistols are kind of the SMG, I guess. I would have liked them to be their own weapon class, though. And there should be rifle as well as sniper rifle and shotgun, but that's because I love weapons, and maybe not everybody's a weapon nut like me. Then they have armor, which is just 3 grades of armor, light, medium, and heavy. There's no other armors, which was a little disappointing to me, but same thing. It's just, I like variety, I guess. They do have all the different grades, and they name the different grades, so that's cool. Consumables. Most of it looks pretty standard stuff. I do think healing, like monomate and dimate and trimate are your healing items, and it does seem like this game kind of makes healing items way more common than D&D does, so I don't think they'll be as hard to get a hold of. Not that it's hard to get a hold of them in D&D, but I think you can literally just go to the store and buy these things, or out of a vending machine or whatever. Telepipe is a thing, which is cool, because that is like a teleporter. You just like drop it. You attune it to a specific marker, and then you can teleport to wherever you need to go. By that, I mean back to the marker. And I think you still have to be outside. It won't activate inside buildings or a structure. So if you get messed up in a dungeon, you just go up to the top, you go outside, boom, back to town, no problem. And I mean, you got to make it out first, but yeah. Accessories, breathing mask, advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. Okay, so they got some interesting accessories. They're kind of like minor magic items. Except it doesn't look like there's any attunement slots or anything like that, so that's kind of neat. White mantle. It's a white cloak. And while you're wearing no armor and not holding a shield, you get +1 to defense. Okay, that's neat. Caster kits. Caster kit table shows the cost for each grade. A caster kit comes with 3 charges. It regains 1d3. It regains charges after a rest. So yeah, it looks like you have limited access to a spell list depending on the grade of your caster kit, and depending on what spell you want to cast, it'll use an equivalent amount of charges. It looks like there is a blaster battle caster kit and a protector caster kit, so everybody gets access to magic. Excellent. I love that. A bunch of mundane items. Some more great art. Tools, equipment, artisans' tools, blah, blah, blah. Get to the good stuff. Vehicles. I love the vehicles in here. We got a thing that looks like a car and like another flying car. There's beast mounts, groundcraft, watercraft. For groundcraft, you have bikes, cars, hover cars, and Land Rovers. The Land Rover is the APC thing I was talking about. And there is a thing that's vehicle combat, and everybody can man a station in the vehicle, unless it doesn't have enough stations. I think the Land Rover has 4 battle stations, and I think the bike has 2. The bike is just like pilot, and I think passenger. It doesn't even have any guns, I don't think. But the Land Rover has a pilot, and there's like 2 gunner seats, and there's another seat for something else. And the guns aren't bad, and you get a decent amount of HP and stuff, and armor provided by the vehicle. So you're pretty beefy when you're rolling around in these things trying to get to and from your adventures. So I like that a lot. I think there are starships in here somewhere. Services, travel services, planetary overland, cost in Meseta, okay. Medical services, yeah, they like make a lot of things really accessible in this. So they just tell you straight up, full revival is going to cost you 20,000 Meseta. Meseta's their currency in this. Wound treatment, 1,000 Meseta. So they just make it really easy to deal with all that. Cellular therapy. It removes the effects of radiation. Full revival provides the effects of regen service. System detox cleanses poison and ends the poison condition. Okay, and then we get techniques. Has all of your techniques listed here. Some of them are really cool. A lot of them are going to be D&D equivalents. There are some unique ones in here. Quite a few unique ones. But something I've kind of noticed across the board is they're generally more powerful. I do think if you really wanted to, you could probably use D&D characters in this, but your Phantasy Star character is just going to be more effective overall. So yeah, I'd probably just stick to just this system, not try to hack it or anything. But like I said earlier, the system is brand new. They're going to come out with more books for it, so that's really exciting. And then it looks like there is a monster section in here as well. It's got all the monster stats. It's got a bunch of like classic Phantasy Star monsters in here. Got your armored drones. They got Boomas from Phantasy Star Online, the big hairy beast things with claws. Yeah, and as I'm looking through this, a lot of these look like mechanical enemies too. Robo Centaur, Chaos Sorcerers. Yeah, they have like all the iconic Phantasy Star monsters in here. I don't know all of them because some of them are from the console games before Phantasy Star Online, so I'm not really familiar with those, but I know the online ones pretty well. Then it gives you rules on how to create creatures, so that's really cool. I like that. Oh, and there are starships. They're more towards the back of the book. And it tells you, it breaks down the vehicle station. So you get your operator station, your weapon station. It tells you all the special actions you can take in those. Utility station. You can cast techniques, use weapons in certain ones. That's pretty cool. Starships and space travel. So it looks like starships and starship combat are a part of the game, and there's rules here for them. It kind of reminds me of Starfinder a little bit. You got your pilot, gunner, and technician on a starship, and you get reactions. There's a ship turn, special actions, crew maneuvers, dogfighting, evasive actions, pilot maneuvers. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. Gunner maneuvers even instead of just shoot. That's cool. Technician can power boost, jury rig, all kinds of stuff. They got the iconic ship there, the Luveno. I've seen that in play in one of the Phantasy Star games. I was watching a YouTube video about it, and they were flying around in the ship, so it was really cool. Enemy ships, player ships. Okay, so we got like access to 4 player ships. We got a starfighter, heavy freighter, small star freighter, light freighter. Yeah, they really need to do an equipment video and just have guns, ships, armor, melee weapons, and just go ham on that. People would love it. And the equivalent to like magic items in there too. You could do so much with that. And then the very end of the book, it looks like Game Master tools and just more killer art all the way through. And then the end is just a huge chunk of lore covering, I think, the first 3 games. And the lore is crazy, man. I was listening to a podcast. This dude just going on for like 4 hours about Phantasy Star lore. The lore is actually really good. I don't know it all by heart. I don't know a lot of it by heart. I just thought it was a cool thing, you know. Anyways, that's me ranting about Phantasy Star. I think this game has a ton of potential. Skydawn Games seems like a good company. I'll be keeping up with what they do in the future. But yeah, my first video, I know it wasn't great. I just wanted to get it out there. I don't know if I'll be doing this again, but we'll see. Hope you all liked it. Bye.